But yeah, just constantly being thinking about it and dedicating my entire life to it. I think that's really where I discovered the word passion. And yeah, that's really what it is to me. It's just where you'll have something where you just put everything else to the side, you completely prioritize it. It's yeah, it's just what keeps you up at night, but in a good way. So it was definitely a low point in my career having to face the fact that, wow, this is all kind of coming to an end. But I think at the same time, it was also a great thing because it opened my eyes out up to what is next. And that's how Defiant was really born.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Passion Institute podcast. I am pretty excited. We've got a really different speaker today, but who's going to be talking to us about a bunch of different things. Now, Jamie's CV is pretty long, but let me tell you a little bit about it. His story is going from the DJ booth to the strategic world of business growth. For the last decade or so, Jamie has been touring the world as a DJ and as an electronic music producer, and he's been supporting some of the world's leading artists such as Martin Garrix, Calvin Harris, Diplo, and the list is long. His unique experiences in the music industry gives him that really deep understanding of marketing, creativity, and self-promotion. One of the things we as leaders always want to be able to learn, and particularly as entrepreneurs, like understanding what the ventures that he's done around entrepreneurialism and how we can relate to that. 6 years ago, he identified a critical gap in the Australian market. I guess there was a lack of agencies that were not able to really combine that creative as well as that performance marketing. And so he then set up an agency called Defiant. He has revolutionized the marketing landscape since then. He's propelled over 300 businesses to move forward. Anyway, I could just keep going about it, but I just really wanted to welcome you. Thank you for joining me today, Jamie.
Thanks so much, Shivani. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's great to be here.
Now, one of the things, the first question I always have, Jamie, is that we call the Passion Institute podcast. So give us your view of this word passion. What does it hold for you in your life?
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge word. I sort of first realized what it really meant when I found music at the start. Just as soon as I discovered it, I think it was the way I actually came about it was I was actually underage, and one of my older friends got me into a nightclub at I think like 16 or 17 years old or something like that. Very illegal, but anyway, I walked into the club and just kind of within 10 seconds of being in there, I was just like, what is this? This is amazing music, DJ as well. What's going on? And I just instantly got the bug. And then the passion part of it came in where, I just started researching. I needed to know everything. I needed to try everything, watch every video. I just couldn't get my head off this thing. And, uh, just constantly in my bedroom picturing being supported by some of the artists that you were mentioning before, as this new kid to the block that has never made a song or has any kind of fan or anything like that. But yeah, just constantly being thinking about it and dedicating my entire life to it. I think that's really where I discovered the word passion. And yeah, that's really what it is to me, is just where you'll have something where you just put everything else to the side, you completely prioritize it. It's yeah, it's just what keeps you up at night, but in a good way.
Yeah, beautiful. That's a great way to describe it. Jamie, one of the questions that I always want to ask our guests is that, we have great things happen to our life. And when we read out a CV of somebody, it's always the good stuff. But there's
Mhm.
also the challenging stuff. There's the parts that kind of don't go very well in life. And so what are some of the challenges that you've had? They're big for you. And tell us a little bit about how they've transformed you into who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, again, back to the music career and my transition into Defiant, I was kind of like on a high for, let's say, like 8 years of the 10 years that I was doing music for, right? Like things were going super well, had all this creativity, was touring the world, was doing some really, really big things. And then I think one of the lows that I faced was kind of losing that spark. And I think there were a few things that happened in my career towards the end there that just made me lose the craft for what I was doing. It became very businessy. It became very, managers trying to take percentages here and there, and all this contractual lingo that I just wasn't used to, and I think that killed my creativity. So it was definitely a low point in my career having to face the fact that, wow, this is all kind of coming to an end. But I think at the same time, it was also a great thing because it opened my eyes out up to what is next, and that's how Defiant was really born. But in Defiant, on the business end, I would say, yeah, it's every day there's like you're on this roller coaster, like something amazing happens and you're celebrating, and then next minute you get a message, and it's a massive challenge, and you're constantly doing this every single day in business. I think probably one of the most challenging times in the business was in a phase where I bought out a business partner, and just going through that transition was quite tough. We had to change a lot of the way that we were doing things, our culture, everything needed a complete overhaul, and yeah, we actually had to kind of like refresh our entire team at one point. It was like a team of, oof, it would have been at least 20 at the time. So that was rough, right? That caused some disruption for at least 3 to 6 months in the business. But again, like everything, when it's that tough and you're that sort of, I guess, in a low point, the only way is up, and that's the way that I like to treat those situations.
Yeah, beautiful. You've made a lot of hires in your businesses,
Mm,
Jamie, and one of the things that leaders and entrepreneurs often struggle with is finding people that are really
yeah.
passionate. We want people that step up and do all the things that they do. So have you got some tips that you can share in terms of what do you look for? What has been your experience? And sometimes we learn the hard way. Sometimes we hire people
Yeah.
and go, "Oh, that was a disaster." Like, what have been some of your
Yeah,
tips for the
definitely.
people listening in terms of what's worked for you? How do you find, people that are really passionate? What's worked in your businesses?
Yeah, that's a great point, and something that took me many years to really crack the code on. That's for sure. Made many many incorrect hires. I think one thing that I did that really helped me just kind of filter out people who weren't super keen on being the best at what they do was to just be really clear in my job ads, right? In the first place. I know it sounds like such a obvious point, but we have a thing in our ads where we literally say like this is a performance culture. We are trying to be the best at what we do, and this is not your typical 9 to 5. Like some weeks we are going to work up to 60 hours a week. Like that's just the way it's gonna be. Do you, with that in mind, do you still want to apply for this job? Yes or no? Right? And I don't even look at anyone that says no. So my LinkedIn just only shows me people who have said yes to that question. So it's a bit of an obvious one, but honestly, like it's good because there are a lot of people who aren't looking for that. They just want a cruisy role. They want to rock up. They want to do their 9 to 5. They want to go home and that's it, right? And that's totally fine. But we're not the company for you if that's what you're looking for, okay? Which I think is also fine. And I think the key lesson there was just to be really upfront when you're looking for talent. Don't try and oversell it. In fact, maybe try and undersell it. Maybe try and undersell the role and see how passionate this person is and how much they really want this and what they're trying to do. So yeah, that was a huge lesson there. But the second part is the second thing that really helped me was creating incentives that actually reward high performers. Okay. And this one's a huge one because if you give a high performer the ability to earn more and progress faster in your company if they perform, then guess what happens? They want to perform, they want to hit that, and they're motivated by that type of thing. So again, just the way that we kind of structure KPIs has attracted people who are like, well, I know I'm good at what I do, and if I actually execute on this, the reward for me is incredible. It's insane. So yeah, that alone, those two things there, I would say have been key game changers for me when finding top talent.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of leaders struggle with. I know, Jamie, and I'm not asking you to divulge all of your secrets, but could you share one of those? Like, what is a KPI that if they hit something, that is a reward that they get? I know in the previous businesses I've had that I've exited since and started up new ones, we use, what I've created a passion model, and we basically tested people to see what it was, but then we set up the incentives around what people were really passionate about because rather than give
Right.
everybody a hand hamper and, I'm vegetarian, so that doesn't really help. So, how
Yeah.
do we actually tailor it based on what people are really interested in around gym or, family time or whatever it may be. Tell us maybe one example of something where you're using that for high performance for our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, definitely. So look, the way I like to do it, I like to set bonuses that are safe for me, but also, like I said, extremely rewarding for people who excel above and beyond what the business actually needs. So one example of this is we have profitability targets for our teams, our pods, we call them internally. And we do our numbers and our forecast based on what we're expecting that pod to achieve. Okay. If they achieve above and beyond that, they actually share in the profits and in a big way, right? They get a large share of the extra additional profit that we weren't accounting for. And I think that's a great thing for every business owner to do because you're doing your projections. And if you hit this profit target, you've hit your projections. But if your team are able to generate more profit for your business, and like you should be giving them a share of that, in my opinion, because the great thing is they're incentivized to make your business more profitable. And you've already covered your costs, you've already factored in everything on your forecast anyway. So then your relationship with your employees becomes less of like boss and employee. It becomes more like we're actually business partners in this goal. Because when this happens, you're going to be rewarded like a business partner does when they take profit out of the business. So yeah, just absolute game changer. And then you start to see all of the decisions that they're making are geared at generating more profit for the business, which is just it's a win-win for everyone. It's a great deal.
Yeah, I love it. That's fantastic. The next question
Mm.
is sometimes super hard to answer. So if we come up a level from talking about people, I'm always curious to understand what a couple of lessons that you've learned in businesses, because when we learn those lessons, we kind of rinse and repeat it, whatever business it is. So
Yeah.
what are for the people watching, Jamie, for the people that are listening, what are the things you go, yeah, they're my two or three key lessons that I've learned in business?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I wish I could watch this myself when I was starting business so I could tell myself these things. But again, everything that really sinks in, you got to learn it the hard way. For me, first one is never give away the farm. So it's a saying that my old man has told me for years and years and years, and I only learnt it the hard way. Again, after him telling me it for years. But basically, I think what that means to me is when you're an entrepreneur, you know, especially at the start, it's quite lonely at the start. It's quite lonely, this entrepreneurial journey. No one really gets you, no one understands you. Your friends are like, oh, just come out to this event, blah, blah, blah. And it's quite a lonely journey. So then sometimes along the way, you'll find people that are like super pumped to get on board with you and they want to do this and they can do this and they can it's all these great things and great energy. And as a founder, I think, well, definitely a mistake that I made was giving those people a share of the pie that I'd worked so hard to already get into. And what I mean by share is not what I said before about a profit share, but I'm talking like actual equity share. Okay. And that was a huge mistake to make for me at the time. And just giving away too much too soon when I had to stop and think about it. And it was really me. It was my work, my energy, my sacrifice that actually created this thing in the first place. So never give away the farm. Be very cautious in the way that you give away just huge chunks of your equity in your business. Because at the end of the day, like partnerships are hard, or having proper partners that own a business and have a say in your business is extremely difficult in a lot of cases. A lot of people have made it work and hats off to them. But yeah, I would just say be very cautious about giving away the farm. Um, I would say another massive thing is just again how important people are to your process. I remember again going back to that moment where I had to refresh my team. There was so many people problems in the business at that time, and I did the classic thing as a founder and said, "Oh, this is too hard. Like I'm just going to do this myself. I know how to do it. I know how to do it the right way, my way. I don't need people. I'm just going to do it myself." And what a mistake! Like that was a silly mistake. I'm glad it didn't last long and I came to my senses quickly. But I think, yeah, lesson I've learned is just people are your product in most businesses. Even if you're selling supplements or a physical product that you ship out to people, your people and your team are still your product. So heavily focusing on that, getting the right people and not just the right people, but the right mix of people as well. That's probably something that it's probably the very last thing that I will ever delegate in the business, and I will still always be extremely involved in that, no matter how big Defiant gets, because it's just so important.
People are the product in your business. That's super cool. That's great.
100%.
Jay, tell me about, challenges are coming our way all the time as entrepreneurs, as leaders in
Mhm.
businesses. So something hits your email, somebody comes in to see you, and there's a challenge. I'm
Yeah.
really interested in how you deal with it. Is there a process? Is there a system? Like what, some people use their gut. What do you do when challenges come your way? How do you process it to then get to sort of solutions?
Yeah, such a great question. And I literally just covered this with my team this morning on a kickoff. So yeah, it's great that you asked it. Problems happen all the time. And look, there's no one way to deal with every single problem. I don't think, or I haven't found yet. But I think the first thing to do is realize that you're getting paid to solve problems. And what I said to my team today is, guys, problems aren't bad necessarily, right? As long as we're learning from them. But what we all have to understand here is that we literally wouldn't have jobs if this was easy. If this was easy for clients to do, if there was never a problem that ever happened, if this was just straightforward, then we literally wouldn't have jobs. So understand that problem is fine, but always solution, problem solution. There's a solution for everything. We just gotta be calm and find that solution together and communicate and just follow through. Like if we say we're gonna do something, make sure we do it and create a reputation for being problem solvers, right? Because yeah, again, in a lot of industries, like think of almost any service business out there, even physical products are solving problems. So problems are opportunities.
Yeah,
And yeah, I feel like when we frame it like that, it takes the stress out of the problem.
yeah, yeah. That's great. I really like that.
Mm.
Jamie, future passions, right? We've sort of in my opening, I talked a bit about your journey from DJing, and then you saw this gap in the marketplace. And as you, in the space of entrepreneurship, there's a whole heap of other ideas. I don't know about you, but I have like 25 ideas a day. And I know my family have got
Yeah.
to go, okay, this is not one that's going to translate. She's just kind of talking about it. And so talk me through some of your future passions. Maybe you haven't started it, maybe you've already started some of that down the journey. What are some of the future passions, aspirations? What are some of the things you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, as an agency owner too, I think the shiny object syndrome is crazy because I get to see so many different brands and so many different ideas and so many different things that I never would have thought could make money are making incredible money, right? So the idea is, yeah, just like you, Shivani, there's always 25 of them in my mind at any time. One thing that's on my mind for this year and for the foreseeable future is to actually just double, triple down on Defiant because again, I've got I could very well go and start another business or another idea or another passion project, but Defiant is the beast for me at the moment. And what I've realized too is like if I just put all of my focus into this one thing and do that for 10 years and look back, like it's going to be crazy. Like we're 6 years in now, and I look back to even having conversations like this, talking about our early days, it just blows my mind. So yeah, I think passion project wise, it's going to be something to do with just expanding Defiant, and that's my key focus at the moment. But look, the other thing is I just had twin daughters about 4 months ago. So yeah, on a non-business level, they're my
Congratulations,
big
twin
big passion
daughters. That's
project. Yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
Congrats.
yeah. Loving it. I think any spare time that I have is going into them at the moment. So yeah.
Mine are 16 and almost 15, Jamie. I'm
Oh
still
yeah.
saying any spare time is gone.
Yeah, that's it. So, but yeah, I think again, uh, just back to your question. I know a lot of high net worth individuals, like obviously a lot of the business owners that we work with and things like that. And I did an assessment of just everyone that I speak to on a daily basis. And one thing that I found was that the most successful people in my camp aren't people with some crazy idea or even a business that they're like so passionate about that they love it, and it's everything to them like that. It's just that they've chosen something, they've chosen to solve a problem, and they've done it for 2 decades, right? And they've just not let anything else get in the way. They're just like, this is my thing. I'm 100% focused on this. They're the people that are most successful in my network, and I think there's a lot to learn from that because as entrepreneurs, you're as an entrepreneur, you're someone who sees opportunity everywhere you look, and it's so easy to get yourself into 10 different things, 10 different pies, and not do any of them correctly. That's just so easy to do as an entrepreneur. Because you'll make something happen, but when you're doing it across 10, it's very hard to do that. So yeah, that's a bit of a reflection that I've had so far this year.
Yeah, amazing. The next one's probably more important, the question now, Jamie, seeing that you've just had twin girls. And, what do you do for your wellness? There's a lot of pressure these days on entrepreneurs, particularly around mental wellness, whether you do things
Mhm.
for yourself, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever aspect you want to talk about. Some people do things daily. I'm also really interested in the frequency. Do it daily, weekly, annually. Talk us through what you do to manage your own wellness.
Yeah. Look, this is one thing that I can say for sure I'm not an expert in. And I will say like it's probably been only the last 6 months that I've really taken this seriously. That's completely wrong, by the way, for anyone listening to this. Don't follow me on that. But I've just always put business first when it comes to wellness, right? I put my goals first, I put all that first, and put health and wellness to the side, which is completely wrong. And what I realized again upon reflection at the start of the year is I use my calendar. My life is run by my calendar. It's if there's something not in my calendar, I don't show up to it. Like even to a point where I've had to ask my wife to anything that's really important, please put it on the calendar so I don't forget, because just a million things happening in my day. And what I realized is the only way that I have been able to actually achieve, it's taken me 6 years to work this out, but the only way that I've actually able to achieve time where I go to the gym and I take care of myself for an hour a day is to literally block it out in my calendar. So that's been a bit of a game changer for me. And I treat it as part of my work. I do it in the middle of the day. And I treat it as part of my day. Like this is a task that I have to do for myself, I even frame it as a task that I need to do as the CEO of Defiant in my mind because that's been a way for me to prioritize it. So yeah, gym is one thing, and I find doing it in the middle of the day really breaks up my day, allows me to obviously stay sharp, and it's been a game changer. And I think I just wish I prioritized it sooner.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because sometimes people always think who are listening and struggling to make a heap of things work, particularly some of the startups or, people having some financial issues or whatever it might be that might be listening. So thank you for your honesty about the fact that, you haven't had it right, but just breaking up the day and this is what you now kind of live by your calendar, which a lot of us do, really, really
Yeah.
helps. Jamie, tell me a little bit about how people come in contact with you, what platforms or websites. How do people stay connected to you and some of the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so defiantdigital.com.au is our website. So obviously anyone who has a business that wants to get some help with marketing, that's the best place to go. We also have a free school community. So I'll send you the link to this afterwards, Shivani. But that's actually a free community where anyone can join. We have live calls in there every 2 weeks. Where we basically bring up a business, talk about their results, give them some help. And basically, it's just a community of other like-minded people trying to grow their business. We have a free course in there, and I really created this to basically help brands that we can't support because we are working with some pretty huge brands at the moment, and our kind of retainer has just kind of gone up and up and up as we've been able to deliver bigger results and do bigger projects, work with bigger brands. So unfortunately, there's a massive segment of the audience, a lot of new small businesses that we can't help with in terms of like doing it all for them. But this school community is completely free, and that's our vision to help that part of the market, and hopefully they grow big enough to one day actually be able to bring us on board. So there's that as well, and then just kind of following along with my journey. So just Instagram, Jamie Kritharas. Yeah, my name's a bit of a tongue twister, long Greek name, so might need to might need to link that one in the notes,
I had
Shivani.
one of them too, Jamie. I get it. Well, it's not Greek, it's Indian, but I get it. So I appreciate that. We can also put a couple of the links at the bottom of that. I'll stay on the call with you afterwards, but it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for all the questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on the Passion Institute podcast. If today's episode sparked a new idea or inspired you to maybe take some action or helped you see a business in a new light, we would love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps us present a great show. Leave a review and share this episode with other fellow entrepreneurs and leaders who also are ready to make an impact. Remember, passion is the fuel for greatness, and every step you take brings you closer to your vision. Keep dreaming big, leading with purpose, and making waves in the world. Until next time, stay passionate, stay inspired, and keep building your legacy. This is your host, Shivani, and signing on from the Passion Institute podcast. See you soon.